in many cases, badly designed surveys, even the fact of trying to collect the feedback is a nuisance to customers. Let's face it, if you get a survey that starts off and you see the progress bar at the top of the screen, then you wonder yourself, okay, how long is this actually going to take?
Exactly.
And do I want to do this? Generally, if I get something with a progress bar, I stop immediately. I mean, is it really important if I like the color of the bathroom in a hotel where I'm staying? Not really. I think in many cases we need to concentrate on what is important, what data is important, stop collecting data that's irrelevant, and just for the sake of collecting data, and we need to collect data and this customer feedback with a clear purpose.
In the last 20 years, around that, over 50% of Fortune 500 companies have disappeared in their longevity rate. So in times they used to last like 33 years average on the Fortune 500 side. Now it's down to less than 15 years. Do you think they should try to ask maybe 20% of what they are asking currently and get 80% of the output, like power laws at play when you're asking for feedback?
Absolutely. I think that, as I was saying before, when you get these surveys with progress bars, then you wonder, these companies are going to get so much data that they don't really know where to start analyzing.
Yeah.
And I think what we need to do is really focus on what is truly important, right? So we should try and focus on what we actually want to know from the customer. What are our priorities? And we get that information back, and then we have to deal with it. We have to do something with it. It's not good enough just to gather data for the sake of doing it, but we actually have to really have a concept of how we process this information and what the corrective actions are going to be. The second step would be to look at your KPIs, right? Because very often KPIs are set by operational guys, and they don't necessarily think of the bigger picture. They just want to improve the operational results. Short term, they set KPIs, and KPIs very often encourage the wrong kind of behavior. People are very creative when it comes to meeting targets. And so if you're not very careful when you set your KPIs, you could actually be encouraging people to act in an opposite way to the manner that you want.
Supposed to be smartest people in the room, we're discussing how can we make it harder for our customers to reach out to us and to contact us so we can lower our costs. So, and I was thinking, obviously, we've built Vantta because we noticed there's like a gap in the market. And I was thinking, speaking in a more macro way, why aren't companies lowering their operational costs by reducing contact center contacts from customers, by doing a feedback collection that is more agile and more facing towards continuous improving, like collecting smaller chunks of feedback along the way and actually knowing what they're collecting and knowing their customer and taking quicker, linear steps towards improving. Would this be a solution? Why are not companies doing this today?
Sure, no, I think that's actually a good way to do it. I think that when you get feedback from a customer, you have to separate it into two parts. You have to look at the things you can act on quickly and give the customer quick satisfaction, and these also they're quick wins, right? But you also have to look at the bigger picture, the systemic issues, and maybe need a little bit longer. But yeah, I mean, customer feedback, it should be the input for continuous improvement project. The worst customer experience I remember is actually not that long ago. We had some equipment in our kitchen with the and the manufacturer came on a service call. The engineers didn't know the equipment. They asked my wife for the user manual. Of course, there was nothing in the user manual. Then they said that it actually wasn't manufactured by them. It was manufactured by somebody else, and they don't sell it anymore, but they didn't know about it. And it needs place, and they didn't know when they'd be able to get the part, and they would let us know. They didn't let us know. I called up, and they still didn't let us know. And then finally, 2 weeks later, they did. Then I was sent an NPS survey, and the NPS survey asked me if I wanted to be contacted by them. So I ticked yes, and they did contact me. They sent me the invoice. So, so this wasn't really a very satisfactory.
That's terrible. That's very interesting. Let me just add up this really quick. So those types of service providers are the ones we are trying to tap in right now. So if they cared enough about feedback with our solution, they could now give you the chance to on the spot let the company know that the service didn't really match the expectations. And I think that by knowing that real time on their pockets, I think managers would actually care, because sometimes it's just the bureaucracy and the sheer size of the companies that gets in the way of just solving the issues.